All right, how's it going, everybody? You are with the Rookie Critic and my guest, Black Angus Reviews, the two members of the Cinema Squad. We'd probably have Jeff the Iron Wolf here, but he's busy doing his job, which is driving and stuff, so he cannot join us on this. But we're just talking just some random stuff, just for like maybe a little half hour. It's a little mini chill stream, just chit chatting. So, Black Angus, you wanted to talk about something today?
Um, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss, but I am really pissed off as of late with the copyright strikes I'm getting on my videos. Because like yourself, we're under 1,000 subs, so we can't even have a chance to monetize. We can only shill for donations to a like registered donation site, if we did. And I
Yeah.
keep getting struck by ACDC because I'm playing. I guess I'm playing it too long. I don't know. I even got a copyright notice for Hell's Bells for 20 seconds for my intro on the NFL picks. It's getting annoying because when I learned about copyright notices and stuff, I actually checked, and ACDC was clear. Uh, and then it happened to a Eagles video I did for my NFL thread. Now it's happening to like my Predator, which I put Night Prowler in there. It's just now
That's my
I'm
alarm
slowly
clock.
being forced into using free YouTube music, and it's really time consuming to find something that actually has personality and that fits your personality. You know, the name Black Angus, it's I'm black and I love ACDC, so that's where it's from. And like I can't use ACDC. Like what the hell?
I get you. It kind of defeats the premise of it. Now, I totally understand the frustration with the copyright stuff because oh my God, I freaking hate that as well. In one of my first videos I posted, I played Stricken, or no, Down with the Sickness by Disturbed. And that was just for like a chase scene. And it's in a 10-minute video. I play it for maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I have my own footage that plays over it, and they're able to claim the whole video for any copyright and for any monetization I would have had if I so had any. And it kind of makes you feel limited. So like with what you're saying about your whole theme with ACDC, and you're playing some at the beginning, and I know that you like to play it out at the end. Now the ones on the end, I know why those ones are copyright, because over playing over 30 seconds, they get a little like, oh, that's too much of our song you're using. And even if they don't get you right away on it, I mean, they can, I suppose, come in and check sites. Oh, who's using our music? Oh, they're using too long of it. Let's just copyright them, and that's annoying. But the ones that you play like 20 seconds, I don't think those should be copyright at all. If anything, it's giving people a taste of that music, and especially if you mention that they're ACDC or you mention the song, feel like you're giving them credit, then they shouldn't say anything about it. It's like, okay, thanks. You're not claiming that this is your song, and you're using it in your thing, and that helps us get noticed. Maybe I clicked on your video for the first time and I never heard this song before, and then now I want to go listen to it, and then I go listen to them. That helps them out in a way.
Yeah, that's actually an idea because one of the threads of my channel is philosophy, and it's really time consuming to even invest in a philosophy video if you want to do something that's not just off the cuff about like something very specific. Like I did one about Thanos because I saw an angle with like a religious comparison, deities and stuff. But then the next one I did was like months later, and it was about the Pope sex scandal, and that was just kind of a recapping what was an hour-long stream by Ben Shapiro, and I gave him credit, of course. Um, that was recapping, like the media coverage of this insane story it's developing, and I haven't seen anything as of late, but I actually have another two actually planned based off of a book and kind of a summarization of Catholicism. Me being ex-Catholic, being an atheist now, I'm being objective in my analysis, and one video is to just clear any misconceptions people have. Uh,
I
and
guess.
I got this idea of using ghost music because it'd be kind of like a tongue in cheek, like haha, they have like satanic pope imagery, and I'm talking about the Catholic Church. Um, but now I'm scared to do that because it's like I'll have to copyright strike my video and it'll be blocked over the world, and I can't rip my video through a converter to then re-edit if I delete it off of my computer. So it's getting scary, the censorship when you're not monetizing off of someone's advertising for them.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's very frustrating, and I wish that they had a. Well, I'll get into this in just a sec, but we do have a few people watching, and last time we tend to really just rattle off for real.
Yeah.
But let's pay attention to the chat for a little bit. So we got 4 viewers in here, and we've got our buddy the Lone Wolf Cub, which we'll be doing a live stream later today at noon Pacific time, I guess is what West Coast time is, which I just learned today. And then he's all the way in Germany, and so that'll be 9 p.m. His day is already almost done. Mine's just beginning, basically, and we'll be going live a little later. But we've also
You
got
just said very cool. I like that.
very good nerd crew. Hell yes, we are nerds. Duh. Cool people these days are nerds. Then we got Safis in here, and he says, "Hey, rookie," and yep, and he says, "Hi, Black plus rookie." The Lone Wolf Club says, and rookie. Quick question: thoughts on Aperion being canceled? I don't know what that is. Aperion, Apeiron. Do you know what that is, Angus?
Maybe it's ape iron.
Ape iron. I have no idea. Safest, if you would elaborate on what that is a little bit, that would be great because I have no idea what that is, and I'll answer that for you if that's clarified. And from Red Letter Media, won't he says or no?
KOTOR.
Aperion is a mod for Knights of the Old Republic. I didn't hear. That fan project, right? I think is what he's talking about. There was a fan project that got pulled by Lucasfilm. I think is what he's referring to.
Yeah, I
If
just Googled it, and yeah, it's saying cancel after Disney legal threat. Um,
Oh yeah, no, I
uh,
think that's freaking stupid. Because one of the things that I keep on vouching for here is fan projects. Because like even if the current Star Wars pisses us off, we at least have the ability to make our own fan projects, which can in turn keep Star Wars alive, which can keep stuff that we don't like that we like, but it's being ruined alive in ourselves. And if they take it down every time it gets publicized, then that's freaking stupid. Yeah, it's just a fan project. Yeah, I think that they should leave that up, or if anything, I understand them wanting to maintain some control, and same with copyright stuff. It's like I understand that, but they should have, if anything, have a small royalty rather than like just complete control or complete takedown over the property. What do you think about that? You hear that?
yeah, I'm just at a loss. It's a scary time with expression and stuff in the media, and just look like 10 years ago on YouTube and what people were doing, and I don't think people realized what they could do with YouTube for the most part. It's crazy because before the only thing that was famous on YouTube was like you check out a band you like and their videos
Or
and
a
random
cat
like cats and yeah. Um,
videotaping the wall? Pretty much was the content of the past, and then we can also
there
videotape us moving. Oh wow!
Yeah, but with KOTOR, it's funny. Okay, so I actually have a crazy story about KOTOR. Okay, so I did not grow up with gaming until like 2007, 2008. I got my PS2, and it was right before the PS3 came out. So I was always a late bloomer. And my first game was Godzilla and stuff. Okay, well, years later in high school, I had a girlfriend who loved Fable from Xbox. So I made the point to buy Fable and an old
Fable's awesome.
Xbox. I played a little bit of Fable. I like the concept, but they had KOTOR, and I'm a Star Wars guy, so I'm like, I got to play KOTOR. It's the best-selling,
Also
Star Wars
awesome.
game, best rated. Okay, well, there's a point where you crash land. You crash land on you crash on that planet with they're not Biths, they're a weird alien head people though.
The Athorians.
The Athorians. Okay, yeah, you crash on that planet and you got to help these tribes, and one tribe tells you to like kill the leaders, and another one so you're like, oh, if you leave us alone and free our prisoners, then we'll help you and give you this book. Well, if you kill those guys, you can't get the book, and then the other people won't help you because they want the book, and so you got to help them. Okay, well, I did the opposite, and I think I killed everyone, and I didn't save a different game, and so I was literally stuck forever.
No, because
There
you
was no way for
couldn't
me to
get the things that you needed to do it the right way.
there was no way for me to reverse it. This was like 2010, 2011. And so I was so fed up. I'm like, screw this. I'm never touching this again. Like I spent so much time doing this. Well, I finally got back to it because, talking about KOTOR and stuff and original stuff with Star Wars. It's pretty much after Solo came out, so disenfranchised, on top of Last Jedi, where it's like, let me get back to, real Star Wars projects that maintain the core values and the core emotions and feel of Star Wars, and KOTOR does it well. And I'm back at that place. I think I'm finally out and on a ship or something, about to fight Malik. So I'm close to the end. I know how it ends, left or right, but yeah, KOTOR is where it's at. And it's sad that someone trying to make a mod, because they haven't remastered it for people. They've done a couple computer KOTOR games, but people, some people like me, I don't have the time or want to play online games. I want to play just a story, uh, not
Yeah.
being influenced by, like, having to pay more or any of that stuff. That's kind of the problem
You
with
don't like
modern gaming.
you don't like microtransactions. You don't like playing your game nicely and then having to be charged or asking to be charged at every freaking turn.
Oh no, dude! I figured out early on about Battlefront. Oh, I'll let you carry on. Let me take care of my son. What's up?
Okay. All right. Well, well, he's taking care of his kid real quick. I'll just comment on that again. So, yeah, I think like with the Star Trek video game mod got taken down as well, and I
Bless you,
don't
son.
know. I think that it's just I understand that they should have some type of claim over it because it is their property, but it is a fan thing. And if they weren't making money off of it, they should be allowed to do it, especially if it isn't harming. But I can understand, like, if a bunch of people are clicking on it, maybe they get like a 5% royalty of some kind or some type of a fee with it, because otherwise, how are people supposed to express their own ideas? We're supposed to be the land of the free, basically. And if you can't express yourself or put your creativity out there, then I don't understand what the point is. It seemed like back in the day with early YouTube, you could make whatever you want. I assumed that a lot of the projects people were doing were fan projects. I remember lots of old Star Wars projects back in the day, little fan things of people making the lightsaber effect and trying to fight each other in each other's backyards and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
if they keep on censoring it, then that's just ridiculous. I don't understand how they're going to make more money if they think, oh, let's censor our own customers and audience. If you're talking to me, I'll just silence you. And it's just kind of ridiculous. If anything, they could just go, okay, if people click on it, then we get like 3% or 5% of whatever revenue that would be, because it is still their property, but they allow it to still exist and allow them to still get credit for it and whatnot. At least that'd be some type of compromise to it, so it's just not a full takedown or all or nothing. Any more to say about the fan film stuff being taken down, or do you want to get back to copyright or the other thing you were going to mention?
No, well, uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear.
Okay, okay. Uh, there's no button for me to see on my phone with my mic if it's on or off. But yeah, with the not KOTOR, Star Wars Battlefront, the first one. 'Cause I love the first two on PS2 and Xbox,
Oh yes, the
and
Battlefront 2 was the freaking golden age of the Star Wars
Jesus, all you gotta
games.
do is just like all you gotta do is do that, but put on new skins like Call of Duty. You know how Call of Duty's famous now, and they just keep recycling. Just take like the modern look of Call of Duty and put it on the old Battlefront game, and it'll sell well. The game is fine, 10, 20, 10, 15 years later. Um, and so with the new Battlefront, it's like there's no capture the flag, there's no onslaught. It's like these modes with just kind of plays on different iconic scenes or environments from the original Star Wars, and it's like this is just a nostalgia sell. So like I learned early on with Star Wars after Force Awakens, because I bought into the Journey to the Force Awakens. I bought the Shattered Empire four-part comic series started by Vader, which I've reread Vader. Vader's actually a good comic, but um, I fell for all of it and Aftermath and stuff.
Yeah,
And the coolest thing was with this Force tree in Aftermath that Luke gets from Palpatine, one of his compounds. And you're like, this is supposed to tie in. This is all one universe now. It's all continuity. Nothing from Aftermath or Shattered Empire, nothing tied in with with the Force Awakens or the new movies. And with Battlefront, I learned quickly, like, no, this is a nostalgia sell. Battlefront 2, I kind of fell for it. I bought it for $30 from Goodwill, and I guess it's
The
better. It's got
original
more, but
Battlefront 2 or the new Battlefront 2?
no, the new one. I have both the originals. I still play those,
Okay.
but
We
I
have to
had a
clarify now because there's two. They have the same freaking
yeah,
names. It's really
sadly.
dumb.
You know why they do that, right? It's like if that Birth of a Nation. So there's the classic, the first film on the White House. It's a story about the Klan, and it's showing them in a great light and stuff. It's made in 1907 or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
remember hearing about that movie. Yeah.
Well, they made a new one about Nat. I think it's Nat Turner or the Slave Rebellion in the Civil War, and they called it Birth of a Nation, and even the script looked the same and stuff. And it's purposely made that way to overshadow the original. Is trying to like silence the original. And you can say whether it's good or bad about that, but with Star Wars Battlefront, they've named them the same as the original. So when you look them up, you have to like search deeper to find the originals. They're trying to bury it, and that's what's so sick about.
Yeah, that pissed me off honestly because well, it wouldn't piss me off that much if they just called the new Star Wars games something different. Because when you say Battlefront, you think of the features of the original Battlefront games that made them what they were, and then in this, they do not have them at all. So why even have the same title? Like if Halo were to all of a sudden be about something with dragons, you'd be like, what the hell? If Halo 2 was a completely different game and you fight in the Middle Ages and it's a first, it's a third player, you'd be like, what the hell are you doing? This is not the same continuation of the first game with new stuff. It's, if anything, they could have just updated Battlefront 2, like with an anniversary edition or something, if anything, like
Yeah,
with with the graphics of these new ones on the old ones, damn, that would be pretty good. But some new stories wouldn't be hard. They could have done that whole Empire story kind of. They already kind of did that with the first Battlefront too. Honestly, they could have done some other variation and just made. How can they not have Galactic freaking Conquest or be able to be the animals and stuff? They had that way back then. So much content in a little video game made for original Xbox and PlayStation 2. What the hell?
yeah. With original Battlefront 1 or 2, what was I'm sure there's multiple. But what was one of your favorite battle sites, or what's like a crazy battle story you have in original Battlefront?
Original Battlefront. Or I don't
One or
remember.
two, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and Battlefront 2 on the campaign, like for the Rise of the Empire, there was a lot of stuff in there that I liked. I loved the, taking of the ship at the beginning of New Hope. That one's pretty fun. There's the Polis Massa. I love how cluttered and narrow it all is. So, it's pretty much a huge, hectic firefight everywhere you're going. For scenery, I mean, Felucia was pretty detailed for back then. I mean, for it being a huge swamp planet with huge alien animals and stuff. I mean, yeah, there's pretty memorable stuff. Kashyyyk, or
Yeah,
I mean, Kashyyyk and Camino looked pretty good as well.
it's funny you said Felucia because I actually realized when I was filming my NFL video that it's behind my head. I got the accolade from episode 2 and Felucia.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
Get the toy, and it's crazy because we used to have this hobby store in my town. It went under, but a weird feature they added to the toy, something you'll never see in the new stuff, is you can pop out this compartment and it's got a little thing of guts when you like play and kill them. I guess it's crazy the inventiveness they had for episode 2 toys and stuff. Stuff where it's like I just want this giant crab monster, and it's like, oh wow, I got guts with it. But with Battlefront 2 original, one of my favorite places is Geonosis. That first scene where you're the clones and you're disadvantaged by like 50 troops, and you're at one point and they have like multiple spawn points to swarm you
no, true.
down down. I had the craziest fight, and I was about to take a picture for proof, but then it timed out and cycled to the next battle. So I was on Geonosis. I was getting my ass kicked, and I happened to jump into the ATTE, the six-legged walker,
Yeah.
and I was down 1 to 100. And I killed everyone. My last kill was surprisingly one of the glitches was a droidica got stuck on the leg of another walker, and
Okay.
so I figured out where it was on the map. stayed in the ATT and shot him, and I won. And I was about to take a picture because it's like I had 130 kills out of like the 200, 250 troopers that you have to fight, the droids and stuff. That was so awful. But yeah, another challenge I like that's hard is Kashyyyk on the original Battlefront because um,
I mean, that one was pretty tough. I remember that.
yeah, yeah, like the best thing to do is because you can't ever get to that far spawn point. So the best tactic I've figured out is to be a sniper on top of the platforms. You can get some good kills, but it sucks when everyone else is getting killed around you. So
Yeah.
you have to be on top of your game. You
You
can't
have to keep your
once you
kill
start
numbers
missing
up.
shots, you lose confidence, and you just got to be a regular ground trooper and try to like get your confidence back that way, and then maybe respawn again as a sniper. But yeah, Battlefront
Exactly.
is so much fun with it, and it's just a simple conquest game. You're talking about Battlefront 2 with that whole Rise of the Empire. I remember at first it frustrated me so bad because I was so used to that onslaught conquest version of just equal armies takes spawn points and try to outlast each other, and then this one it's like you have limited resources. You got like 20 to 60 depending on the mission level,
Yeah, it makes it
and
harder. It's like a good challenge. It makes it you have to try to strategize and think about how you're gonna overcome the enemy. And it's like this is a freaking Star Wars game where you're playing as clone troopers and stuff. Like this is great.
yeah,
And it just yeah, and the Galactic Conquest, you could do that too. You can literally overwhelm planets. You can try to take over, and they could have had so much more planets in these new ones, but no, they just didn't want to do that. And I don't know, it's just a huge missed opportunity. And I hate the style of the new ones. I mean, I like the visual look, but it just feels like other modern games now. And I kind of would have rather them keep the nostalgia gameplay of the old ones and just update it for new. People will buy that shit. I don't get why they think they have to change everything these days. I mean, we'll freaking pay for it. I mean, we tell you what we
you
want
know
to pay for, and they go, no, 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 do it. We do it like we know what you want. We know what's best for you. Bullshit.
you're making me think. I think more than just the movies and the agendas and stuff with Kathleen Kennedy, it might be this like just real hatred that a man built this empire and Kathleen Kennedy's trying to just like reshape it in the image of her, and her being a monolithic term, not just Kathleen Kennedy, but like the goddess idea or something. Like it's a real vendetta against men, I think, because Lucas and Kasdan and all these great men, for the most part, built Star Wars. I know Lucas's wife was a big part in like editing and stuff, but
Yeah.
you know, it's a creation by a group of men collectively for the most part, even though it's a universal, non-binary story and universe. It's something that men buy into, men raise their sons into. The girls that go half the time are just girlfriends or wives that are just participating because their guy likes it. And yeah, this whole I never really thought about the gaming aspect because I'm not a big gamer, but love Star Wars games. If it's got Star Wars, I'll check it out. Um, and yeah, there's I don't know, they just got this weird angle on everything that they're just
Well, it's like
it's like
they think they need to put tits on a stormtrooper for women to go and play as stormtroopers, and it's like women like Star Wars anyway. Some women do, as it is, and that's fine. And it's smart to cater to, or not cater, but it's like to aim it at boys because boys will definitely buy it if you do it a certain way, and then women can like it too. No one says women are not allowed to like this. No one says that. No one at all says that. And it's like, Anna, that Star Wars girl, I love how she goes off on on them about how she idolizes Luke Skywalker and how like Kathleen Kennedy said at one point that women can't relate to the characters on Star Wars or something. And it's like, who's she to say that? How can people not relate to them? You think that they have to be the same gender? You can be whatever you want. It does. I don't understand why people say, "Oh, why are you sexist and racist?" But they're the ones focusing on it 100%. It's like we just want to see a good story. We just want to see people have a good time and have it make sense, feel a little for them, like them, care for them. It doesn't matter. And I don't get why they have to go. No, we have to make sure that these specific people buy it. Otherwise, it's not good enough. It's like I don't understand what the point is. They're not making money. It's not profitable, as
yeah,
Jeff Hicks always says. They're not making money. They're making less money. They're making a decline, downslope of money. This is pointless.
yeah. I just realized in our kind of fanboy mimicry of the High Council idea with the cinema squad. I'm kind of the Jeremy. I'm the guy that's in tune with the sports to some degree. Uh, and I know some of the nerds, whatever, that will watch this or are watching this may be like, no, no sports. But there's a point. There's a similarity here with the NFL. Not so much in the game, although there is some, but they're starting to add more women coaches and stuff in locker rooms or whatever. And that's fine if women know sports, if they know football and can coach or train or whatever. It's fine. But with this whole Me Too thing, now it's like a new wrench in the system with having women in this like all male sports, especially in the locker rooms, but also in the marketing. I'm starting to notice. I always notice, like when we go to theaters, I'll point it to my wife. I'm like, oh, look, they made a point to have a woman or a girl or a minority first or prevalently in their advertising. And I'm seeing that with the NFL and like all the promotional advertising. For like products that are related, like pizza, beer, whatever. There's like multiple clothing NFL ones now with like there's a pizza one where like a black girl and her family are watching football and she's like celebrating a touchdown and she's ripping up the boxes and stuff, and even the players watching her are like, damn, she's going off, she's crazier than we are. And it's like,
Yeah.
what? Like I've never seen a chick that crazy unless it's like they're a Philly fan or they've been raised with their dads to they're the only girl in the family and it's full of boys and they just love sports genuinely. Like you don't see that uh in real life. And there's another one where it's like the daughter's going out and there's some discrepancy with the dad because they're like different teams and they're repping different teams, and it's like, why are you marketing to women? Like the NFL's almost completely black, which I'm half black, like that's fine, but the talent's all black. That's who's we're watching, and most of the people watching demographically are white people. Like I don't get it. You're targeting the wrong people, and it's the same way with Star Wars. And I don't know where these people are coming from for marketing strategies for Star Wars and the NFL or apparently Star Trek. I have noticed that like they got a lot of lead women on the commercials, but I'm not in tune with
Well,
new Star Trek.
Well, it's like the way they're doing it is like, okay, the way that I see it is I sort of came from more of the left side a little bit, from the Democratic side, but I've shifted to the middle because of how loud the far left has been. With, okay, like I want diversity in films and in sports and whatever. Like I'm okay with that. I'm not saying it's like you can have people of color in it. That's cool. We have more, yes, but don't just go, okay, so in order to get more of them, we need to shun white males and then just, get the other people in and then just have them because they're better. And that just seems to be the attitude they have sometimes with a lot of these things. Correct me if I'm wrong. I am whitey here. So
White devil.
yes, I'm now racist apparently just for commenting on. Yeah, totally. But no, I feel you on that, especially with sports too. Like I don't like I'm okay with them trying to, change it up a little, but I don't know either. I mean, where is the interest for other people? But if they want to add on that, they should add on it or figure out what actual people want, and then try to make decisions based on that, not just okay, we're just going to do what we're going to do. And if you complain, you're this, and then we lose money and nobody joins anyway. And then I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
do people not know how business works anymore? Like you're familiar with business practices, right? A little bit. I've taken some education myself with business. It's not a
I
hard
guess I just got
concept.
the layman's. I guess I got the layman's understanding of business. Like you can look at a product and tell me like, well, this is what works, this is how it sells, and then you say we're trying to market these people, and I can be like, well, that will work or it won't work. Like it's just simple to kind of figure out demographics sometimes.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's like this. Let's say that I have a hot dog stand, and I'm trying, and people are buying my hot dogs. It's pretty successful. I'm making pretty good money on my hot dogs. And then somebody says, "I want a burger," and then I go, "Okay, so I'm going to drop the hot dogs and I'm going to make burgers." And okay, or let's say, okay, let's color the hot dogs pink. Let's color them pink. Somebody wants pink hot dogs, so okay, I'm going to start selling all pink hot dogs. And it's like, no, you're losing customers. You only have a few customers now that want it. Okay, so what do you do? Do you just completely make all pink hot dogs, or do you just sell both, but without saying, a guy comes up, hey, can I get a normal hot dog? What, are you sexist? You don't want the pink hot dog? Fuck you. That seems to be how it is. It's like you're insulted for not picking the thing that they want you to pick or something. And it's like, no, I just wanted the normal hot dog. Oh, what's wrong with this though? You don't like this thing? You want the black hot dog? Oh no, what's I don't know. This kind of that analogy is, it makes any sense, but it just feels like, okay, we're being insulted, like we're a customer being insulted for not doing what they want us to buy, for not buying what they want us to buy. And we're not bad because we don't want to buy it. It's just, okay, you're doing something there that just, okay, it's not for me. But if you nicely said, hey, this is a pretty decent hot dog here, this is a nice one, I recommend it, it's good quality, but you could still get your regular ones, that's totally fine, I'd be more inclined to try it out. You know what I mean? I'd be more willing to go, okay, this isn't bad. You're not insulting me. You're just presenting another idea. You're getting some more people in. That's fine. Instead of just going, okay, you must buy these or you are blank.
Yeah,
I'm done with my analogy. You go.
No, you're fine. You made some good points. It reminds me, because you're talking a little bit about left and the screaming and whatnot. There's this whole culture now of, like, it's easy to attack the right with a lot of their Christian base, religious base, fundamental Christians, I'll say, who a lot of them are creationists and they try to refute evolution in schools and try to get creationism in schools. Like I think Texas has passed allowing Moses to be a historical figure and stuff like this. Crazy stuff. It's easy to attack them, but there is a denial of science on the left that no one talks about. They embrace science when it talks about climate change and etc. Or the evidence of homosexuality at birth or trans studies with neurology. I'm fine with that. If you can, show evidence that suggests X, then if you can back it up with science, I'll start to agree with you and amend how I'm living or how I talk to people. Fine. But with regard to like Star Wars and stuff and their marketing and their stuff, I remember there's an example. There was this panel of scientists at a university on the West Coast. I don't know where it was. And people discussion was going to be with a female evolutionary biologist, the inherent biological differences in male and females, and they're like, this is sexist and etc. And this is misogynist. It's like, wow, this is a woman scientist telling you the obvious differences. Yeah, it's getting crazy. It's infiltrating pop culture. You can't, a crazy, not anthropology exactly, but primatology example I'll use is they took not test monkeys in a lab or anything. They went in the wild. I can't remember what breed of monkeys these were, but these monkeys have never been exposed to humans and playing or whatnot. They've never seen kids play with toys. They threw out gendered toys. They threw out dolls and cars, and more often than not, the boys would play with cars. Like they'd investigate all the toys, but they were gravitated to playing with cars, and they would play with them like you're supposed to with the wheels and stuff. Play with them like a little bull.
Yeah.
He's grab dolls. Like there's inherent differences and preferences in the sexes that you can see in our cousins.
They did that with Legos too.
I didn't know. You have to link me that, but
my cat's on my table, so if you hear purring or rubbing against the mic, that's my cat. I apologize. Ken does what she wants. But no, on Netflix actually, there's the Toys That Made Us, and they talk about Lego. And toward the end, they talk about how they couldn't figure out why girls weren't buying them as much. And they just had a different way that they played with toys. So they changed a few things and marketed toward them, and boom, like they figured out like what they were doing with them. And EVS even covered it a little bit on one of his streams a while ago. Impossible to find it because he has so many now. But yeah, it's we play differently. We are different. But yes, people, a boy can play with something that girls play with, and girls can play with something boys play with. But it's just annoying how they say that you must play with this or that, and not enough girls are buying this, so we need to make sure that they do, and we need to change football to just cater to women or something. That would be, what if they did that overnight?
Watch your show. I wanted to say hi to Lone Wolf Cub in the chat. He says, does that mean we also get a White Panther movie and a Wonder Man? I am totally, as a black guy, I would love to see a whitewashing of Black Panther just to counteract the blackwashing of, say, Valkyrie or Heimdall or something, uh,
Have
or
the
any of
guy
these
who
other
played
characters that be
Aragorn,
Aragorn.
have the guy who played Aragorn in Lord of the Rings be the new White Panther.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying there was a black Aragorn, and I'm like, what? I didn't know
No.
about that. But Tolkien, like that's explicitly like a white, just like Witcher. We were talking about that on
Yeah,
Facebook,
but
like Witcher.
that's supposed to be like toward that authenticity of their
Yeah,
culture. So it's like, okay, that makes sense though. If there were, I mean, yes, you could throw them in, but what's the point if you're trying to express some type of fantasy history? And so that's what I call it, fantasy history. It doesn't mean you just add whatever other elements you want. I mean, you could, but it doesn't really help it, I don't think, or make it better. Are they going to get more viewers with it? I mean, if so, that's kind of racist if they only watch it because there's more black people in it, right?
yeah. I don't know if you saw, but I saw on World Class Bullshitters fan page someone shared an article about people. They used to laud Black Panther because it's so diverse. It's like it's not diverse. It's pretty monochromatic. It's all black
Where,
people.
where's the Muslims? Where's the Mexicans?
Where
Where's the
no, where's the
Indians? Where's
gays?
the
There's
white?
no
Where's the
gays
right?
in.
Where's the outright gays? There was no, hey, Black Panther, how you doing? No. uh,
Come on.
yeah.
Here.
You kids keeping you busy?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I had to give him some bread to keep him quiet for a minute.
That's all right.
He's pretty calm. Like it's funny. He not to get too deep into it, but he loves learning programs. So he'll just sit there and watch like ABCs all day, and like he's starting to really pick up, and he's starting to actually understand like when you say A is for and you wait for him, he'll be like apple or he'll make up some A word. So it's really fun being a parent.
Need for
And
Angus.
yeah, I didn't think of that. Actually, I will talk some about kids. The fandom menace and like what we're doing, all these fan projects and grouping together and stuff. People on the outside, when I talk to them, they don't understand the intensity that we have for Star Wars and stuff. And it's like it's for our kids. Yeah, and you don't have kids yet, and I don't know if Iron Wolf does it or not. But my son is named Lucas for George Lucas. Like that's how much I love Star Wars, and it's
Damn.
being corroded. It's being ruined from what it's supposed to be. And so, like, it is of the most paramount uh, importance to preserve art to be objective in the sense of uh, not letting it be tarnished with a new owner or something.
Well,
To put it shortly, I guess.
speaking of that, I mean, I don't understand how they couldn't have respectfully shifted the gears. What I thought they could have done, with keeping good with the fan base and keeping everything fine, you don't need to have the main characters, Luke, Han, and Leia, just kick total ass. But you don't need to have them take a total back seat either, which is what I feel they did. If anything, you start off strong with the characters that we know and love, and throughout the trilogy, start having the new characters become prominent, but not through disrespecting the old ones. They would have had so much more love and respect for it, but they think, no, we have to just forget about the past in order to like these new things with the same brand name, and they expect us to hook us on the old, but then just accept the new. And it's like we're not just clinging to the old ways. I'm only 24, mind you. I'm 24 years old, and I feel like an old man sometimes with the way things go these days. I could go with how when I was younger, I could say back in my day we had VHS, we had gigantic televisions and CD players and blah blah blah. But with Star Wars, I feel like I'm an old man now with it because the new kids are coming in and trying to make it theirs, which is fine. I would totally be with it, but they go, no, but you suck, old man. So we're good now, and that's what it feels like. Kind of, it's like your ways suck. What you like sucked. Now we're better. We're cool. And it's like, we could both be cool, but the way you're acting is ridiculous. So no, it's just not. I kind of lost my point now. You say something.
We're talking about like
While I regather
preserving.
my thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, we were talking about like the importance. I was referring it to like, oh, my son's kind of interrupted me in the chat and talking about like, well, he's actually a reason for me and for I'm hoping everyone else who has children that they're raising with this stuff, why it's important to preserve this stuff. It's
Oh, right.
uh,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I found my point again. Yeah, so exactly. So for the future, for the kids. So what one of the things with Star Wars is that it's accepted. It's an accepted fact that it helped change culture, right? Like it's one of the movies that really affected the present day and modern culture, right? Did I just make your kid cry?
Oh, are you hearing that? Ah, shit.
Yeah, I was like, did I just make him cry? He hates the destruction of Star Wars. It's affecting him now. Thank you.
No, just keep talking. I gotta check it out real quick, but I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that the
What happened?
that Star Wars is such an important brand that they shouldn't just take it so lightly. Star Wars has
You're okay.
been important. It's literally
You're
affected
okay.
culture to the point
Watch your shit.
where the way that we watch movies and expect sequels and spin-offs to go are different. People literally iconically dress up as Star Wars characters all the time. The best fan projects are usually Star Wars based ones. So much fan fiction and rewrites and the authors of the books that they make, they can't just take it with the video games and toys. They can't just have this same series, this brand, and then go, you know what? The way they're doing it sucks. So we're just gonna do it how we want, and it's just a movie. And if you don't like it, you're racist. And if you don't like it, it's just a movie, and you're a huge nerd. It just doesn't make any sense. They should have done it with the utmost respect because it has affected our country. It's affected the way that people raise their kids and grow up. Again, Anna, that Star Wars girl points out good things on how many people today, like that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, kids, adults, whatever, Star Wars influences how they live their lives. It affects how they go about their day. They, take the lessons that they learn from it, or just watching it help them see something that they like and enjoy and was a happy part of their life. There's a lot of people's memories that they can reflect on. Sometimes I would bet usually have to do with Star Wars. At least one memory, one good memory usually has to do with Star Wars with a lot of people. Do you agree with that?
Oh, oh my God, dude, you're totally on point. Besides my son, being named after um, I was kind of unaware of the collecting culture. I think I started collecting when I was like 15 or 16. Around I think my 13th birthday, episode 3 came out. So it's one of my favorite experiences in theater. Um, it's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. That and Empire Strikes Back, like you, are some of the top ones. Uh, but with like even episode 7, okay, like in episode 8, especially, those are things that it's like football where you see someone wearing uh, a symbol of that tribe, uh, and you can approach them. You would be told stranger, and it breaks the social barriers that we have, especially with technology, where everyone's looking at their phone, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
It's somebody like, "Oh my God, dude, where'd you get that shirt?" Because like things like that, with someone wearing a shirt with clones in it, and it's like, "Oh my God!" With new Star Wars, they don't market anything from the prequels except clones or Darth Maul, so they don't even put it on shirts. So it's amazing to see that, And we talked for like 5 minutes, and even bigger, I have mental health issues sometimes. It might be weather, I don't know, but
Okay.
sometimes I've been, suicidal. And Star Wars, along with like Game of Thrones, has been something where it's like, man, this times suck right now, but I don't want to die without seeing, what they do with Star Wars. I'm so excited to see it, and they've just killed that, you know. Um, that's one less thing to bank on of like, well, this is a reason to keep going. Sure, I have kids and stuff, but uh, things get crazy sometimes.
Yeah,
And
it's like
Star Wars is
no, it's
something,
no longer a joyous feeling. It's like, oh, it's dread now. It's like, oh, Star
yeah,
Wars. Oh boy, what are they gonna do now? It's instead of, oh boy, what are they gonna do now? It's fuck, they're still doing something. God, just stop. Like
yeah. Well,
honestly, we
we can talk about it more on the Sunday stream, but
sure.
one of my ideas for what I think they're trying to do, instead of just the dream sequence idea that a lot of people have of retconning Last Jedi, I think what they might be doing, because Lord of the Rings is a new October tradition, like a Halloween time tradition for my family, and I was watching Two Towers, and it clicked. I'm like, oh my God, if it's not a dream sequence, they're going to Gandalf fucking Luke Skywalker. He's going to die and then somehow use the Force to reincarnate himself to
I am
save
now
the
I am now white Luke Skywalker or something. The white Jedi.
the whitest Jedi,
Or they'll recast him as Idris Elba and he's now the black Jedi.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. They could totally
or the Rock. Yo,
spin with
see, let the
reincarnating.
Rock with the Force is cooking.
No, they'll do some weirdo like they'll reincarnate him in Holdo's body or something.
Oh God. Oh God. Don't even try. Oh no.
But no,
At
that's
least
really
give
what I
us
think they're gonna do.
if it was at least in Jessica Alba's body, that'd at least be some positive. But no.
Yeah, but no, Star Wars really is something that like it's given me hope. And, I've counted the days away. Like when I was at Fort Drum, they have on base they have the military theaters, and once all they have free premiere. Well, it wasn't free, but they had a midnight release before anyone else in America saw it. East Coast midnight. They had it a premiere. We had 501st Legion walk us in. I stayed outside in the cold. Luckily, it didn't snow, but it was winter. Stayed out in the cold for 5 hours with my wife, and all of us. There's probably about 50 people waiting out before the movie started. We loved Star Wars that much. We're waiting 5 hours in the cold, our feet freezing, all talking, reminiscing about different moments in Star Wars we love. Like it's a real unifier because it is non-ethnic, it is non-binary. It supersedes all of that because it is a world story.
And there's infinite ideas you can pull from it. You can insert almost anything and have a story. So you can talk about it and talk about this could happen, that could happen. What if this happened? What if that happened? It's a universal conversation. We could have this conversation with real aliens if they ever show up or something. Like, oh, do you want to do this thing in Star Wars? Oh yeah, Luke, it's got Vader and it's cool. I bet you they'd hear about it.
Yeah, just like Star Trek inspired a lot of technology, like cell phones with the little and they talk to the ship. Star Wars did that with biomechanics. Like people saw Luke Skywalker's hand, they're like, "Holy fuck, we should! That's how we should be trying to do this." Like hydraulics or something. Um, Star
Yeah.
Wars. It's mainly a reflection of history and mythology and religion, but there's all sorts of things you can throw in there and it can inspire someone. It's like someone could figure out one of the plot holes I think is Vader, his suit and stuff, his technology is a successor to Grievous's medical technological abilities and stuff. And it's like, why didn't Vader get his hand to be able to spin like Grievous? It might be a neurological problem.
He didn't have the idea yet. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it
that
might be a
comes later.
neurological problem, but it's like, huh, you totally missed out on a advancement for your body. That's the whole thing with Grievous is he's like purposely trying to advance his body.
Yeah, but they also, I think some people point out that Sidious also wanted to keep Vader kind of weak as well, like all the time, like keep him a little down so that he can't overrise and overthrow him because the Sith always, try to kill each other. So that could hinder a meaningful a hindrance, but still keep him powerful enough to, do whatever he wants, but not go total ham. That's what I'm thinking. But no, it's yeah. I mean, there's so like we can have this conversation. We can have this type of conversation with Star Wars all the time. Honestly, with the talking about characters, what they did, what they could have done, what their intentions might have been. I wish that they would have had, Ferez Olin, which was a rival Padawan in the Jedi Quest book series to Anakin Skywalker, who rivaled him in talent and skills. And there's a different master Padawan type of rivalry with them and Obi-Wan, and it was like that was pretty cool. And they have him survive the Jedi Purge, and he has to help fight and help raise the rebellion. And then at some point he runs into Vader, and he's shaking in his boots and senses familiarity, but can't tell why. He doesn't know it's Anakin, but it's like seeing that difference was pretty freaking cool, and his fear and all that. I was like, dude, that's freaking awesome. And see, you're just talking about a book now. I'm talking about other Star Wars stuff that was creative and good. That's what we want to do with the current Star Wars, but there's not enough to go on to go, yeah, this is great. It's like, no, that one Vader scene, a few things here and there, but okay.
Yeah, it's it's funny like when I wasn't into awareness of SJWs and stuff taking over yet, although it's probably been going on longer than we realize before Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
But I remember thinking after a while, before I realized, before I saw John Boyega like retorting people for, oh, I'm a black stormtrooper and I'm here to stay. Just screw off if you don't like it. Um,
I roll.
Given Yeah, because like people weren't even it wasn't even racist. It was like, how's there black stormtroopers? Like it seems very much
What
Nazi
did anybody
inspired and so therefore white.
did anybody really say, "Oh no, there is a black stormtrooper," or did they go, "Oh no, that black or that stormtrooper kind of sucked"? I mean, that's what I feel
No,
like
it
it
wasn't even
was.
that. It was like when they released the trailer and people were shocked, like, oh, the first thing you see is a black stormtrooper pop up, and it's like, how does that happen? Like, I didn't really, because the Empire is supposed to mimic Nazi Germany and therefore white people, and they're continuing that in the First Order, but then there's a black stormtrooper. That's
You see,
weird.
they could have easily made that make sense, but if they would have explained that is like a new, if they had aliens in the mix of the stormtrooper army and women and like I guess the actual stormtroopers with less of the helmets. Honestly, the helmets are getting kind of ridiculous. I think,
The the problem the problem with what they're doing with the First Order, besides just the bigotry and the mimicry of the Empire, is Star Wars is very much reliant on somewhat obvious imagery when it comes to color scheme and like gender, as far as like the Empire is white, the skulls, that's what they're inspired by, and they're sterile. There's no women in the. It's all human. There's no diversity. It's white men, sterile. Well, in the First Order, they make a point to show you women and minorities in the ranks of the First Order, and so it's the same as the Rebellion as far as diversity with humans, at least. So it's like, oh, why would I root against them if that's supposed to be a imagery symbol of like they're the good guys? It's like, well, they've mixed just as well, so there's no good or bad. Like that's the whole problem is like Star Wars is somewhat redundant, where it's always a fight of good and bad, and now they've made it where it's like, oh, it's gray and it's kind of a moral relativism, which I like in philosophy. It doesn't work for Star Wars. You get nowhere with Star Wars. It's
there
just
needs to be a few
it's
characters
stagnant.
that there needs to be just a few characters that hold that philosophy, not the entire both sides being the same thing. It's kind of ridiculous. And honestly, I still think it's execution. They could have done this whole idea so much better. My idea, I really, man, I keep on having so many projects that I'm working on that I can't get all of them done at once. And I have a Star Wars rewrite I'm working on for The Force Awakens, and like I said, I really think that it kind of shapes how things could have gone after the Death Star was destroyed. How things could have gone a little different, and still keep it in a way, I'm keeping it vague, but not too vague. At the beginning, starts out like, okay, where are we really going with this? And then it's like, okay, it unravels as we go. And I think the way that I'm doing it introduces the new characters in a better way that doesn't have them take the full forefront of the films because we still need to have our Han, Luke, and Leia stuff and actually have a moment with them, even if it's just one moment. Yeah, I don't know. With the, I won't try to get too off topic with that, but with the stormtrooper thing, seriously, with the First Order, they didn't need to emulate the Empire again, but they could have still just had something happen where it's rich versus poor, where maybe the First Order is poor and the Republic is rich. That's still a decent, clear cut battle, right? Having the guerrilla tactics of the stormtroop of the First Order, and that would be different instead of the rebels doing that a little bit.
Oh god, you said rich versus poor, dude. You made me think of Canto Bite because Canto Bite
Oh
was
my!
just some
I blocked that
SJW.
from my mind. I wasn't thinking about that at all when I was thinking about
Dude,
trying to.
that was such an SJW cringe fest. That whole plot on there. For one, they have this PETA plot, and they ignore it. The problem with like PETA minded people, and I understand vegetarianism and stuff as ethics go, but the problem with like PETA minded people, they get so uh, lost in the topic of protecting animals, they forget about people and that we take precedent because there's clearly, at least for self preservation, even if there's nothing actually mystical about our existence, we should preserve ourselves first. And they go on a point to save these space horses, the sporces, and they leave the slave kids to rot. And apparently, one's a Jedi, in the making.
Or
So
yeah.
Yeah, well, with Canada, you're talking about the rich and poor. It's like they sort of did that with, showing that this place is built on the profits of war, more than likely, mostly first order weaponry, and it was clearly trying to, be a display of like of real world politics into Star Wars with like, look at the rich elite making profits off the backs of the common folk, and it's like it's clearly just crying at Trump in a more abstract way, as far as like there's no clear pinpointing or
Well,
targeting of Trump,
or the
but
evil
yeah,
republic of the evil Republicans is what I
yeah.
interpreted them as trying to say, and it's like, okay, really, guys? I mean, I'm not all for the full on rich thing all the time, but I mean, my God, this is a horrible way to. Uh, they see when we say no politics in the movies, this is what we mean. Don't represent your actual selves, like your actual personal politics into the film. You can have politics, sure, but don't have your just
Or,
this is how I'm feeling right now with our current government, and this is oh my God, it's
well,
save that for a comedy movie because this is not the place for it.
if you do it like Lucas did in the original Star Wars, where it's like there's some symbolism or there's a callback. I'm not getting the right word, but there's similarity between like the rebels and the Viet
Symmetry.
Cong versus the yeah, there's symmetry between the Viet Cong and the rebels and the Empire and their size versus with America. And Lucas has talked about that with like James Cameron on camera. It's like, yeah, there's purposefully similarities, but it's so vague that no Vietnam guy's watching it going like, oh, you're taking the side of the Viet Cong. I lost my brothers, and starting an uproar with the story foundation or George, not George, but Tolkien with Lord of the Rings. It's pretty cut and dry, black and white, good versus evil story, and he shows some of his philosophy of himself through Gandalf, and I guess to a point maybe the elves. Um, you know, from what I understand, Tolkien was he's a World War I vet, as far as I know, and he was a intellectual anarchist. Not an anarchist like Antifa, but an anarchist in the sense of like we should be trying to become like I guess like a Star Trek type of society where we've superseded these petty animalistic conflicts and we're united trying to go. We don't need a government exactly to keep us in check. We keep ourselves in check, and always being wary of too much power for any one person. Uh, that's it's Tolkien's personality and his politics, but it's so vague that you don't feel attacked in any way. Uh,
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I didn't really see any of those similarities myself in it. And then, well, same with Star Wars. I never really thought this is clearly World War II, at least for me. I was just like, oh, I mean, I can see how that could be interpreted as that, but it's not deliberate. It's not, this is Nazis, this is America, this is that. And it's like, okay, this could be this could be that, but it's not in your face. And I guess that's what I don't like is things shoved in my face. If cake's okay, it doesn't mean you want it in your face. You want to eat it. You don't want it to. You want to approach it yourself and take a bite. And you can look at it in plenty of different ways with Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. You can look at it from so many different aspects. Did you hear about that? How people were like, "Oh, the X-wing run was allegory for intercourse or something." It's like, what the hell are you watching? Because that's not.
I
Not
don't
what
know
the
about the
hell else.
intercourse, but
Or
because
like
sex seems
his
pretty.
X-wing is going toward the kill of the hull and injects his sperm with the torpedo or something. It's like, what the hell are you really?
I mean, that's just simple mechanics. Like everything works on male female components. You put the screw in the screw head, and
It's like
uh,
it's
nuts
just
and bolts. Like it's all female and male ends.
it's just funny though because it has nothing to do with sex, but that can somehow come up in a conversation with Star Wars. It's like
Yeah, I
okay,
mean,
and
there's some intellectual extrapolation. Yeah, I hate the people, because we're talking about extrapolation. People like to argue that, oh, Star Wars is just movies about space wizards, so don't get your panties in a wad when
the
they don't
Patrick
do something
Williams
good.
video. Do you see the Patrick Williams video that literally says that he's like holding a postcard? Oh, it's just space wizards, so anything I say is okay, and everything you say is dumb.
No, no, like if it was just space wizards, it would have been, it would have been on Cartoon Network and people would have forgot. Like it resonates with the human condition on so many facets. Like me, philosophy, and like the implications of like what Jedi and Sith mean for, if you could institute that in a society. The Jedi are a reflection of like Buddhism and Taoism and stuff.
Yeah, well, the whole Star Wars is made up of plenty of different things anyway. I mean, that's what I think is good about it. It's got some hero's journey. It's got some Buddhist philosophy. It's got some other Eastern method. It's got so many different types of things in it. That's a huge hodgepodge of culture, played through a space adventure with sci-fi as well. I mean, this is like a perfect type of representation of the universe, I would say, like of a fictional universe. That we'd want to be in but can't, but we use what we have on Earth and expand that outward. That's, I don't know, it's just very good. I mean, my creativity, my drive to write comes from Star Wars. I have so many fan projects, or like not fan projects, but so many fan fiction writing, I suppose. I didn't call it that back in the day, of my ideas, and my writing talent improved because of that, because I would try to inject myself in a Star Wars story with my buddies and stuff. As bad as it was, I mean, that's what helped me be who I am. And it's like, when they go, oh, it's just, no, it's nothing. And there's so much you can take from it. I don't really know what else to capitalize on it. You said it perfectly, pretty much. And I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of lost for words too. Like, we've both really, I think, stated, talking about Star Wars, we're not really being fanboys about it. We're talking like, this is why you don't corrupt it with modern politics, because the other movies lasted for 40 years because there was no the most direct, obvious politics in Star Wars is Episode 3, when he does a comparison in dialogue with George Bush, because Luke is from California. It's pretty obvious he's probably a Democrat and stuff, and liberal to some extent. And so Bush said, if you're not with us, you're against us. And he made Anakin say that to like be some sort of resemblance of like, oh, look, this guy becomes Vader. What, Bush said this, not really understanding the context. You're either with us against terrorists, or you're against us with terrorists.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, that's the most, that's the biggest. Yeah, that's the biggest poll he ever made, and it made like a small piece in the news, and it was forgotten. That's the most political I know Star Wars to have ever been.
Well, no, I would say the Force Awakens scene where they have all the stormtroopers lined up, and Hux is giving a huge speech with the red banner behind him, and it's not we will destroy the Republic and blah, and then they all salute. That was the biggest one.
Well, I guess that just made me think of Nazis, but it was like a cheap copy of Nazis. It wasn't. It didn't resonate.
It was supposed to be an allegory for Nazis. They weren't ever, look, these are Nazis. This was like, look, they're Nazis. Literally, you can compare footage. Yeah. It's like, dude, don't be dumb. That's what that is.
Well, I've had fun with this. I gotta get my kids ready for a little thing with the wife at her job, but I'll be sure to be cognizant of your invite for you and the Lone Wolf Cub and listen to y'all. I'll just jump in for a little bit, probably, like we agreed on earlier.
All right, that sounds good. So that'll be at around noon Western time, and around 3 p.m. Eastern time, and 9 p.m. Germany time. And
Deutschland.
And I'll probably send you the invite after we start, because I'm going to mostly talk with the Lone Wolf Cub for a little bit about his stuff. And then when I talk about the Spider-Man stuff, I'll invite you in.
No problem, dude. I saw Venom, so I can be kind of I don't know if he's seen it, but
he said he was going to see it. I wasn't able to see it, but definitely you guys can talk about that too. And I'll save my Spider-Man stuff, and then we can transition into talking about Venom and all that as well. So thanks for watching, guys. You'll catch us again in a couple hours. Have a good one.